Bonjour, life sparklers. It's Claire. Welcome and thanks for listening to the Integrally Alive podcast, where we explore stories, wisdom, and tools for growing resilience and living life in your own terms. My guest today is on a mission to democratize co-living and turn it into a global movement. After running 4 co-living spaces, he decided to spread the awareness around co-living and empowering others to create their own space. He currently also hosts Evolve Coliving. You can find it at evolvecoliving.com, a communal co-living space dedicated to personal growth and transformation. And yes, if you listened to last week's episode, you recognize Guillaume Perdrix. Hi, Guillaume.
Hello. How's it going?
Well, I'm good. I'm thrilled to continue this conversation with you. I was so excited last week to go on with that. So today, after sharing what brought him to dedicate himself to co-living in the first episode, today will be all about living on purpose, co-living, community, evolving together. Let's go. So, first off, I'd like to begin with a definition of co-living, because it's becoming a big trend today. And as this is happening, we see different ways to do co-living emerge and different views. And like many buzzwords, it's also a word that many have heard, but they don't know exactly what it means. So what is co-living?
Yeah, good question. Actually, somebody asked me the question recently too, and I had to kind of think, because you have a bunch of, co-living is becoming a buzzword and people like put co-living there. And I think there's a general definition, and then there's also like my personal definition of how I would like to see it evolve, right? So what's co-living? I guess co-living is the fact of living together. So living together, meaning you share a space, a physical space that you live in. So I would differentiate, you have, for example, like communities, you have like intentional communities, like villages. I don't consider this co-living. I think co-living is really you share a house or an apartment or a common space in which you live. So student housings is co-living, basically. You also have home, like family is co-living between family members.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess where co-living generally now comes, the general definition of co-living is when you decide to live with other people, maybe have your private space, but have shared common areas, meaning a shared common space, shared kitchen, whatever it is, and you have a mix between the private and the common.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I think that's a general definition. And you have, what I'm seeing is co-living spaces that are more or less random, or that are, for financial reasons, like student housing, or like even you have certain co-living spaces that are just, that's basically people sharing a space and having some common areas. And then the other trend that I'm seeing and that I would love to see flourish is intentional co-living, which is people coming together for a reason. So they don't come together because they want to have, cheap housing, but they come together because it's all about one specific area.
Yeah, that's cool. So that would be so that would be your definition of co-living then. That would be your special view on that.
Well, my view, I add the word intentional in front of it. I would love to see intentional co-living flourish.
Yes.
Co-living spaces that are about one area, that are about maybe professional growth or like work. In which case, the people who come there, they come with the intention to work. The space has a co-working space. Everything is around the topic of work. And if it is, for example, transformation, then the co-living space will be around big common areas, will be around events, will be around a community. So I'd love to have co-living spaces that are very intentional about the way they function, about the people that are inside, and about about their unfolding.
And so can you talk, so now you are living, actually you are right now, while we are doing this this interview, you are in this co-living space that you created in Bali, right? Evolve?
Yes.
And so what is the intention for Evolve? I guess you you have a big intention for that.
Definitely. Purpose of Evolve is to help people in a phase of personal transformation. So, I think generally in life you have, you're sometimes very, let's say, mission driven, where you work and your main intention is, for example, working and creating. And then after that, you go through a phase where you stop and you start asking yourself questions. You take maybe like a couple of months off. And a lot of people who come here to Bali to Ubud, they do that. They take some time off to ask themselves who they are or where they want to go. So then a phase of transformation, which is different, where suddenly you're not working 40, 60 hours a week, but maybe you are only 10 or maybe even not at all. And your whole purpose is to discover yourself or to connect with others and to connect with yourself. So people who come to the co-living space are about personal transformation. And what I want to help them with is going through that phase of their life. So the space itself is rather small. We're like 4 to 8 people because we want like a lot of shared intimacy. We want to be very intimate. We have a lot of events at the space so that people are confronted with like different things, so that they can be confronted with growth or with difference. And we help them, like we have different things in place. For example, every Monday we have an intentions sharing circle where people share intentions so we can see how we can help each other on our personal transformation journeys. So it's really about personal transformation. And it's, for example, not a space where you come for deep work, where you can work from here, but it's the purpose is really to evolve and to transform.
So if I understand well, like your vision is of intentional co-living space is a space where you have a direction you want to go and where you want to help people who come there to reach, and you are putting up a space for that to happen. So you're creating a supportive surrounding for that to happen, right?
Yes, correct. And for example, if my intention would be to create a co-working space for work, then I would do it differently. Then I wouldn't have events every day because it would be distracting for people. Then, I wouldn't have, I would probably have like more people, but a bigger co-working space and a space dedicated for work only.
So actually, it's a small co-living space. So I guess, and maybe I'm wrong, but my guess is there are more people that would like to live there than actual spaces. Is there an application process? Do you choose the people who are coming, or and?
Yeah, definitely. So right now the application process is it's very simple, right? What we want to ensure is that the people who come in there are the right fits. It means like they are aligned in terms of like their intentions, that they are also in the phase of transformation, that they are open to community, that they're open to connect. And also we have certain values. Like for example, we have the value of gifting. We want people who come here.
I didn't get it. Oh, gifting, right?
So gifting or giving. We want people who come to be givers, to share their gifts. So to be involved, to get out of their way to help others. So what happens is when people apply, or when people, usually it's through referrals or people from like network or friends of friends, right? But the thing is, like, I jump on a call with them to make sure that, first of all, that their intention is to be open, that their intention is to grow, and that their intention is to be part of this community. Because, for example, I sometimes have people on the phone and then they say like, yeah, I want to have co-living space, but I'm going to work 50 hours a week. And frankly, that's not going to help us because they're not going to be part of the community. They're not going to be there and they're not going to be exchanging. And so I'm making sure.
And they won't get to do that. I mean, it will be difficult for them to do that because it's not the right environment. So I guess exactly. Everyone will end up frustrated. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the first step. And then, once this is clear, once the intentions are matched, then we talk about, okay, how long do they want to stay? And also like we offer different type of experiences. So for example, people can just like come and live, but we also offer them, for example, like different type of packages. So if they want to actually also have access to the gym, plus the yoga studio, plus the things, like we organize all of this for them as well. So then it's all about like understanding, okay, what type of service can I help them with and can I provide them, and how long do they want to stay, see whether there's availability, and then they come in, and then we literally take them by the hand. So they have like a whole onboarding process. Like before they come here, we help them setting the intention. They get introduced to a community already on Facebook and on our WhatsApp group. People, they get to meet people. So it has like evolved since like last year, or since the last house that we've been running, where you were part of as well. Oh, I'm not hearing you for.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I was saying, I went to the at the time it was Life Engineering house in Barcelona, where
the lifestyle engineering.
Lifestyle engineering. Sorry, to see what it was all about, and it was quite nice actually. I really loved what you just described. Right, you have an intention. You make sure that everyone coming to that space has the same intention, and then from that, creating that space that is supporting that. It kind of automatically happen. I mean, it's really difficult then not to follow through, and that's the power of community. Because alone, you're always you have doubts, you have up and downs, and when you are in a down, it can be a bit hard to get back again. But if you have people around you that are actually doing that same, walking that same path, there will be never a day where everyone will be down. It will be always. So you will always find someone to say, hey, no, remember why you are doing that. That's where you want to go, remember? And then you are back again. So that's very powerful.
Yes, exactly. Cool. By the way, we just changed places because we wanted to see the palm trees. So totally agree with like the community, like the dynamics, and especially also like the thing is like for people who are in a phase of personal transformation, there could be a lot of changes for themselves. So it's really important to know where we all are, because some people might need support during those phases, right? And we're also there like to provide that. So one thing that we implemented is like weekly intentions. And one thing that I might implement as well is like having a WhatsApp chat where we write our daily intentions, or like daily things we want to share with the group, so that we can just like being vulnerable and be also like, hey, maybe like I'm going through some stuff, or like I'm changing radically my belief systems today, or today I'm being confronted with XYZ and maybe I need some help. So we want to create like an environment of support towards each other, and we're also like very open to testing like new processes or new rituals of how to do that.
Yeah, that's exciting. One thing I find really nice in that is you are in the process with everyone. Like the co-living space is evolving, and you are evolving, and at each step you find new ways to do it, and etc. So it's how can I say that? It's a communal in every sense. Like the space is also evolving with the people. I like this idea of always finding new ways and always evolving. Yeah.
Yes, Evolve is evolving. That's for sure. I guess every co-living space will, and that's why I'm also very curious, and I'm also really interested. Like I've been talking to more people in the co-living scene. And I definitely also want to talk to more people who want to create their co-living spaces, because we all have our own experiences about what are the best practices and how to run them. And it's very important to share those learnings, because, to have them, it takes a lot of time to like try something out. In Barcelona, for example, in the last co-living space, we also tried things out. There were certain times where we tried, for example, family dinners every Sunday, which sometimes work, but sometimes not. And we realized we can't force people to come to them. So a bunch of like different things that are being tried out, and also for some spaces they're working, for others not. And it's all about co-living is such a new thing that over the next years, like people will start implementing like practices or best practices, and we're all exploring.
Yeah, exploring. I love that. You said something that really interested me, like even when you have the intention of going somewhere and doing the work, there are some times where you said you cannot force people to do the work. How do you deal with that? Of course, when they come to your co-living space, they have gone through the application process, and they share your value, and they are ready for that. But then at the same time, life happens. Maybe one day they're like, well, today I don't really feel like doing that. Or how do you deal with this?
Great. What do you mean exactly with like doing the work? You mean like being
active in what you propose? Because as I understood it, you propose a framework, a space, and maybe some activities that they can choose to take part in or not. Maybe some are like, if you enter this co-living space, you have to do this. I don't know. So how do you deal with these events, making them compulsory or not? Or
Definitely. So what we did is like nothing is compulsory. The only thing that we want to make it compulsory is the Monday morning intention sharing. So because it's important to get aligned, and people come here also, because they want to fulfill their intentions. So that's the one thing that we expect people to take part of. The rest is really up to you. So we have a lot of, like, for example, this week, we have a breathwork event, we have a trauma healing event, we have a personal branding event, and we have an ecstatic dance event, and tonight we have a women's circle. So you don't have to attend to all of those, because maybe like you don't care about personal branding right now, or maybe it's the other way around. You don't care about trauma healing, and you're here to also like work on your personal brand and figure out what you want to do and how you want to portray yourself. Yeah. So we're not going to oblige people to come. We just give people a variety of options that they can attend and that they can connect to, and like connect with a community of people who are coming to the space. So that's the learning we got from Barcelona, and that's totally fine. I think that that's how we run it here.
Yeah, sounds good actually. And now it's always up to you to see what works and what doesn't work. And if no one is showing for an event after a while, you might think, well, it's not the right event for the house, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Hasn't happened so far, so it's cool. But and there might be, there's also another thing that we need to differentiate, because we opened the house 3 weeks ago. So even though like I've been promoting it, and we created the community, like for example, we have this like Facebook Messenger group now with more than 50 people logged on it. So we have this like small intimate community already that's growing. But I can't expect 50 people showing up at every event. It's unrealistic. Sure. Things will grow. So and that is why the way we also do events is with people. The idea for this space is really to empower people. So to empower the people who live in the space, to empower the community of Ubud, of the area, but also to empower the people who are hosting the event. And we're not hosting the events. We're like providing the space, we're providing promotion, we're providing everything. But it's the people themselves who should want to promote, to create the event. So the people who, for example, the person who's going to do the personal branding event, she's running the event because she wants it, because like for her it's serving her, and she's going to promote it herself. So so this way, for us, we're not taking responsibility for the success of the event. We're still helping the people. But the cool thing is that we're working with people who themselves are passionate about what they're creating.
Love that. So just to clarify, the people who are running the events are living in the co-living space.
They don't
or
have
it
to.
Can be someone. Okay, it can be someone from the outside.
Yeah, in fact, the majority of the people are from the outside.
Great. And so I guess the events are open to everyone who wants to join them.
They are open to everyone. They're all free, and it's really, and here it really comes from a place of giving. For us, it's amazing, because we want a lot of community at the space. We want to help people in a personal transformation, not only people who live here, but people also from the outside. Events is also a great way for promotion. And there's also another reason why we do events, because also just for the house and growing the community, there's nothing better than events. And events, is a great way for people to explore themselves. So for example, there's one person who staying at the house who wants to explore himself as a coach. So he's going to host a coaching event. And everybody who's hosting those events during this week are there also to promote themselves, or to have to gain their first event experience, or whatever their needs are. And at the end, it all boils down to one fundamental core value, which is to help each other in our own personal journeys and our own intentions.
Wow, I love it more and more. I
Cool.
love the fact that it's not only a kind of closed space, which is already nice, and I'm totally okay with that. I know some co-living spaces work like that, and it's totally fine. But I love the way that you open to, and it goes then beyond just the community living together. It goes out to the community around you, and that's really great. And yeah,
Yes.
This is really, really interesting. And I love what you propose, like a duocracy. Like, hey guys, you know what you love, you know what you stand for. So if you want to do it, do it. Don't wait for me to to do it. So this is a great, very a great intention you have as well, and I find it beautiful, like the way it's happening.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, and it's really about empowering each other on our journeys, and that's why when I meet people, I'm just like, hey, like your yoga teacher was ever like, do you need a yoga space? Do you want to? Because it's a win-win situation for everybody. And we also got very inspired, not very inspired, but we got inspired also by Burning Man, for example, because it's also like there's certain similar values that we have with that space, which is, for example, gifting, or coming from a place of giving, and not saying that this house got inspired or that it's from Burning Man directly, but we're sharing a lot of values, and it's really about coming from a place of like, how can we enhance each other's lives? And for me, I'm providing a space and providing a community, and for others, they're providing their gifts, their talents. So that's how events comes into the co-living space.
Yeah, very interesting. So for you, what are the ingredients for a great co-living space?
Definitely. So number one is having a clear intention, right? Like if you're creating a co-living space, you should know why you're doing it in the first place. Are you just doing it to lower people's rents, or are you going a bit further? Are you doing it to help people in a certain way? Are you doing it to maybe to help people fulfill themselves in their work, or are you doing it maybe to improve, like to bring change makers together and create new ideas, like whatever your or maybe it's even like for families, like maybe your desire is to bring families together so that the kids can grow up in a safe environment, like whatever your intention is. Like I think number one is having a clear intention behind co-living, and then once you have clear intentions, it's thinking about how can you manifest that intention in reality through the events that you're going to host, or through even the house structure that's going to be there. So for example, if the co-living is for families with 2 kids, then it's going to be a totally different house structure than if it's for people who are in their 20s or 30s and who want deep work and then deep party during the weekends. That's totally right. So depending on your intention, you're going to think about how is this going to manifest in the communal aspect, in the housing aspect, in the marketing aspect. And then, generally also having a great experience for the people who come, from like, how are they taken care of? How are they being welcomed? How can you integrate them easily in the community? How when they come to the space, they shouldn't worry about, they have like a seamless, easy experience. So people who come here, we organize the airport pickup, then we organize them a scooter. Then we have like daily laundry. We have like daily cleaning. We have laundry taken care for them as well whenever they need it. We change the sheets. We have like an entire fridge full of food that they can serve themselves with. So all of these things, like they don't have to take care of, and they can really focus on what they want. So thinking about those things, how can you enhance their lives and how can you create great experiences, is definitely another key component. And then lastly, the community itself, right, is based on your intention, making sure that the people who are going to share the space are going to have the same intentions, are going to share the same values, and are going to be in the same stage of life.
Oh yeah, that's really important. And I love your vision, and I read somewhere you were talking about putting people first, and I just absolutely love that.
Yeah.
So I believe that's when the magic of co-living really shows up. For what you saw about, now you run a few co-living spaces, what would be the first reason why people join, and what are they looking for, independently of the intention of the co-living spaces? But
definitely. Couple of things. Number one is, I guess, community. People want to live in a community that supports them, that helps them, that's loving. They want to be part of something bigger. Number two is because it enhances your life. When you live in a co-living space, you can have access to, like, for example, like a bigger space, more amenities. Like here in our space, we have like a big swimming pool. We have like all of these things, which you couldn't afford if you would just live by yourself. You can share a cook, so your quality of life is like way higher. And for cheaper, right? So that's another reason. A third reason is probably, because it helps you on your current life chapter. So if I'm looking for work and I'm an entrepreneur in San Francisco, if I join a co-working space, a co-living space that is about entrepreneurs working on tech, then it's going to definitely help me on my professional journey as well. So, that's I guess the third reason. And yeah, that's I guess the main reasons. Actually, we wrote an article about that, like why co-living, and Maslow's pyramid of needs. So you have like the big fundamental needs, which is like shelter and stuff. Co-living provides that. Then you have another one, which is social status or security, enhancing your life on a basic level, and it does that as well. Then you have like belonging, community, like the sense of having a family. Co-living, if it's intentional co-living, does that as well. And then the last one, or like the fourth one, is self-esteem. How can it help you become a better person? How can it help you like grow? Well, if it's intentional, if you have like people who support you, and if you have the structure in place, co-living can do that. And the last one is like self-actualization. And if there's a strong like communal support, if there's a community manager who checks in on you and who helps you and helps you on your journey of self-actualization, it can provide that as well. So it really can come across different layers. And some co-living spaces are probably like really good at one thing and not that good at the other thing. Like they might be great at community and at like belonging and helping you with your self-actualization, but maybe the co-living space itself is not that great. It doesn't have, amenities. And it might be also another one that's the other way around. It has like a swimming pool and event space and everything, but because it doesn't do such a great job at community, you might miss like the belonging parts, or you might have like a great other areas. So it can help you with different things.
Yeah, very interesting the way you link these needs and co-living. Totally. Yeah. And it is now some tool for yourself that you use, like you have this pyramid in your mind, and it's kind of a check of, okay, is my co-living spaces meeting these needs in this other one? Is something you use?
I haven't yet. The way I think is also, for example, well, in the pyramid, right? The basic need is like shelter, water, all of these things.
So, survival. Yeah.
So it's survival, right? So how does it apply to a co-living space? Well, it applies only in so far as in finding housing, which is one of the first things you need to do either way. So once this is done, it's done. And then you can think about, okay, how can you provide food and water? Like here, for example, I have organized somebody who brings like food into the fridge every 2 days, and a part of that, there's nothing much more to do. Where I can really improve is more on the other layers, on the community layer and on the self-actualization layer, which is, so community layer, I do that with events. Self-actualization, I do that by spending more quality time with people and helping them individually on their personal journeys.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really involved heavily in the day-to-day life of the space, right?
Definitely. And also because, I want it. Like I'm also myself right now looking for a small community and having deep connections with the people who are there. And and there's nothing wrong with that, it's just a different life journey. Instead of having a bigger community of like 15 people living together, where you have like smaller interactions, but where you can probably also like have more diversity in the people. So it's different. And definitely I spend a lot of time with the people because I want to be surrounded by a close community of people who help each other.
Yeah, So can you, what do you envision for the future? Do you want these co-living spaces always to stay small, to have this big human component, or do you see it growing at some point? Or
Well, let's say it this way. For myself, um, actually, let's say the other way around. I don't think that's what I see just for the future is I want the rise of intentional co-living. So I want more co-living. First of all, I want more co-living spaces to exist. And I really want to facilitate the emergence of co-living spaces. So whoever who wants to open up a co-living space, I really want to help them, advise them, and so that they can do things right. So, and second is, I don't think there's a right thing between small, like 4 people or 10 people. It really depends on the intention of the space.
yeah, I
And
was asking actually specifically for the Evolve Co-living, for what you want to create.
well, let's see. Let's say, I think that for what we're trying to do, around 8 people's or 6 to 8 is a good number. 4 to 8 is a good number. So that's kind of right now what we can have at the space. And ideally 6, 7 is great. And then there are other factors. So for example, if people would change every week, then it wouldn't be the same as if people actually live there for a month all together at the same time. So this is another thing. Like if people change very rapidly, it's better to have more people. If people stay there for a longer time, it's great. It's also possible to have like smaller people, so like more, like less amount, because people will be able to bond.
Yeah, actually, what is the average length of stay in your Evolve Co-living space?
So right now, the average length is around 2 weeks. Because we had around 3 people staying in for like 7 days. And we also have around, actually more, like with 4 people. Then we have like plus 2 people staying for like 10 days. But then we also have like 3 people staying for a month. So I guess it's more, we didn't have anybody staying for like 3 weeks. It's more like you stay either for like 7 to 10 days or you stay like for the whole month. So, right now the average is in between.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember what I saw happening in the house in Barcelona is people coming for like 2 days, and then at the end of the 2 days, like, guys, do you have space for me for next week and next week and next week? So yeah, and I like this. I mean, I like this process too of let's try and find what works best, and I like also the way you leave freedom for people just to, maybe they don't have more than 7 days and they still can have a glimpse of what it is. And my bet is once they have the taste of 7 days of co-living space, if it's done like you're doing it with an intention and supportive and people putting people first, then they want to come back, and it's a chance for people who maybe are not in a space where they yet can spend 1 month in these kind of places, but to have a glimpse and to open spaces, to open the door to a new possibility.
Definitely. So, I remember, so in Barcelona, the thing we had a guest room, right? So we had a guest room. People could invite people, and then people would stay for like 2 days, and sometimes, and then there would be, actually most of them would then be like, "Oh, do you have a place?" And I would stay for a week. Here we don't have a guest room, but the one thing, because we only have 4 bedrooms total, so we cannot allocate 1 room for guests. But what we do is that if you are hesitant about the space, like if we believe that it's a good fit in general, but you want to check it out, then you can come for a day and try it out for free.
Oh, open doors. That's great. Yeah.
And then after that day, so right now it's for free. We might do it also for like a lower amount, but like, you can stay for 1 day and try it out. After that though, we encourage people, or actually right now the policy is to stay minimum for a week.
Yeah.
The reason being that if you stay let's say if you stay for 3 days, it takes a lot of time to integrate. It takes a lot of time to get to know each other. So I'm going to spend my time to get to know you, and after 2 days you leave already. And it's better if you can stay for a week to really have the full experience, to really like being able to connect deeply with the people, because that's what this house is about. And also, if you're hesitant after a day to stay, if you can't really make a decision, then probably it's not a good fit either.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, so this is right now, that's what we're trying out, the model. Stay for a day. If you're hesitant, stay for a day. After a day, you can decide for yourself.
Yeah, great. You mentioned as a first need for why people would join a co-living space, you mentioned community.
Yes.
Why do you think, and I have a few ideas on that, but I want to hear yours. What do you think people need so much community right now?
Well, I guess, first of all, I think like generally like values in people are evolving. You know, like people are more, they care more about belonging. They care more about like self-actualization nowadays, instead of, you know, like financial stability, which was, and it's just a different area. Like we don't need to anymore really to focus like on that. So this general trend. Second, another trend is the fact that we have more remote workers and more nomads.
Yeah.
When you're nomads, when you change locations, you can get very lonely. You can get lonely very quickly, and so I guess it's the second reason. And then thirdly, once you experience how it is to live in a community that empowers you, you see the benefit and you want it again. And generally, you know, there might be phases in lives where you would rather want to be isolated or you want to be by yourself, and that's fine. And some people prefer that. But then you also have others who just like being around others, who like to be around people, and so who desire a community that fits them.
Yeah. So co-living is getting bigger and bigger every day, and I actually this idea of intentional co-living and having multiple in different co-living spaces, and you will find kind of your family, the one that suits you and your desires, and it can change over time as well. Like, I don't know, this time could be totally, yes, I want to evolve with Guillaume in Bali, but then next time, okay, I did this path and this work already. Now this year I really need to like invest in my work and in my business, and I need people who support me in that. So going to another one and etc. I can totally envision a kind of network of co-living spaces where you, well, like let's say you have smaller families, and then you have like the bigger family being the network between all of these, and it's a vision I love actually. So I really do think that it is spreading for a reason, and it's not just a trend and a fashion. It's really going to change society, and as more and more people are coming to that. So how do you see that happening? And I know you are in contact with many co-living spaces outside of Evolve, and creators of co-living spaces. So what is your take on that?
So how I see that happening. So first of all, with your idea of, you know, like you have like different types of intentional co-living spaces, right? So some for like community, others for like deep work and stuff. And I guess one thing that doesn't exist yet right now, like you have certain platforms where you have co-living spaces where you can look at them, like coliving.com, coliving.org, which is amazing. Yet you cannot filter them based on intentions. So that's just one thing. Hasn't existed yet, and hopefully will be implemented or created. How do I see that co-living is going to become a global phenomena? Well, a couple of things. Number one is awareness. And I want to contribute to that part as well, but it's really, we need to create more awareness around the topic, and the topic will become more popular eventually. When I say like, hey, I'm opening a co-living space to people, a lot of them say like, what's your co-working space about? They haven't even heard the term yet. So awareness will be a big topic, and the more people publish about it, the more people like film, document about it, and the more people live in it, it's going to spread naturally. The second way is going to spread.
Excuse me for what to say. I want to clarify something. So people are, I mean, of course, co-living is new, so lots of people have heard the word and maybe they don't know exactly what it is. And so what you're saying is often they mistake co-living for co-working?
Oh yeah, like a lot of people have not heard of the term co-living yet.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Like when I talk to my grandparents, when I talk to my parents, when I talk to
Yeah.
even people in the startup scene or whatsoever, like it's not about the age even. It's really about the fact that co-living is a new phenomena, and I guess the majority of the world has not heard the term.
Okay.
So in order to become a global phenomena, more people need to know about it.
Yes.
And the first step is really building awareness.
Mm.
The second step, and the way it's going to grow, is, I believe, through technology. Because you have more and more people who want to create the co-living spaces and stuff, but we need more tech solutions, like scalable solutions, to meet the needs of people who want to create co-living. So you have amazing people. You have people like, the founders of coliving.com who created the platform with all listings of co-living. You have people like Christine McDonald, who is working on a software called Kindred that is about like on-site management operations of co-living spaces. You have what I'd love to see is, and I might get into it eventually, but creation of other tech solutions for example, legal system, for even like finances. Like right now, if you want to open a co-living space, you need to come up with like 3-5K, instantly, maybe sometimes 10, 15, depending on where you live, to get a space. And that's really hard. Not everybody can do this. Yeah. So it's great, for example, to create crowdsourcing platform where like initial members can all crowdsource the money, and the money can then be unblocked to like fund space, and maybe be backed by a legal system or a system that is cooperative, or that then gives like certain rights to everybody who invests in that. So these are tools that can be developed and that hopefully will in the next like decade, so that more people can have access to create co-living spaces, and that more people can have access to join co-living spaces. And so that's where I would love to participate in the role of like facilitating the movement of co-living through creating awareness and through spreading technological solutions.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so guys, full disclosure, there is an event going on in the in the space. So if you hear people talking behind Guillaume, that's it. And that's the beauty of living in a co-living space too, right? Well, that's actually beautiful, and it's actually a beautiful ending, like the vision for the future. But do you have anything we didn't touch on and you really want to talk about now?
Thank you. Honestly, I think we really did touch on everything that's currently like at least important to me. The fact of like intentional co-living, and not just treating co-living as putting a bunch of people together, but really like seeing co-living as an extension of why we live in the first place, and really putting people first. So having strong intentions, and really for everybody really who wants to create co-living, like it's you have a lot of people out there who want to help you, and I hope that people will support each other on this journey, and I'm here to support as well. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how different co-living spaces emerge, how people test out like different methods, different processes, different best practices, and co-living spaces with different intentions and different ways of being. And I really hope, and I believe in it, that co-living will transform the way we live, and we'll see more and more intentional co-living spaces flourish.
Yes, yay to that. Amen to all of that. I'm with you on that. So, wow, that was a great and interesting conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Claire. I really appreciate that. Thank you, everybody listening too.
So guys, like, I mean, you heard it. Guillaume is really up for and passionate about all these co-living things. So don't hesitate to connect with him. You can do that on a few places. There is the website, evolvecoliving.com. There is Facebook, Meet Guy, MEETJUA. Let's do it again. MEETJUI. Yes, got it. Meet Guy. And on Facebook. And on Instagram, Evolve Coliving all together. I will give these links on the website, integrallyalive.com. You will find it. And that's the end of this episode. So thanks again, Guillaume, for being with us today and for creating this space for people to come together and grow in who you are, into who they are. And yeah, for putting people first, really.
Thank you. I appreciate it and really looking forward to seeing this movement rise.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And thanks everyone for listening. If you like what you hear, check the website integrallyalive.com for the show notes and the links and leave a comment. I love reading your feedbacks. Subscribe to the podcast, rate it on iTunes. You will help other people get access to this information and wisdom. And till next time, until then, keep sparking life and going from alive-ish to alive. Bye, à bientôt.
Bye-bye.